Well, first up, Singapore's COVID-19 restrictions will be eased again on Friday with the start of phase 2 of reopening. The government says community infection rates have been stable, while the situation in large clusters and migrant workers' dormitories has also stabilised. In phase 2, retail businesses will be allowed to reopen their physical shops. You'll be able to dine in at F&B outlets, although there will be no live entertainment to prevent people staying longer than needed. Larger venues like malls and standalone retailers will be subject to capacity limits. Personal health and wellness businesses, home-based services, tuition and private enrichment will also resume. Sports, parks and other public facilities like playgrounds, swimming complexes and similar facilities in private condos and clubs will also reopen, as will registered clubs and societies. All healthcare services will be reinstated after the resumption of screenings, aesthetic services and elder care services. People can also begin visiting the elderly at residential facilities with safety measures in place. But even with phase 2 set to begin, the government has outlined some guiding principles. They include maintaining safe distancing of at least 1 metre, a limit of 5 people for social gatherings with no mixing between groups, and a maximum of 5 visitors for each household.
And Deborah Wong joins us for more on this. Deborah, why are we entering a phase 2 easing of restrictions now? Are we ready?
Well, the task force says it's been monitoring the situation over the last 2 weeks since phase 1 started. And because cases in the community are under control and stable, they have made the decision to move forward to phase 2. Now, in fact, most of those cases detected are due to active screening. Now, majority of Singapore's cases are in dormitories, but the task force says that that's since declined and it's under control. So far, there hasn't been any indication of new or large clusters, so the decision was made to move into phase 2. But of course, that said, health and safety measures must still be adhered to. So let's hear what Health Minister Gan Kim Yong has to say.
Phase 2 is a significant step in moving towards a new COVID-safe normal. The multi-ministry task force will continue to monitor the situation closely with the aim of continuing to ease measures until we reach a new normal in phase 3. With a range of activities resuming in phase 2, the number of close contacts between individuals will increase. We therefore expect to see more new community cases. With more testing, we will also expect to see more cases being detected proactively.
But you see, even as phase 2 begins, Mr. Gan says it's still crucial to keep to safe distancing rules. Now, for instance, in F&B outlets, even though they can commence dine-in, patrons must still keep a 1 meter distance and limit groups to only 5 people. So enforcement will also continue in the same level of scrutiny that we saw in phase 1, but this will now be expanded to cover new premises such as the newly reopened sports halls or even in shopping malls. Now, of course, the onus is also on business owners to maintain this safe distancing measures because it is in their interest to ensure that Singapore does not revert to circuit breaker conditions again.
So, Deborah, any mention of how long before we enter phase 3 then?
Well, the task force says that it's a process that might take months. So we don't have a definite timeline at the moment. It also says that the situation remains stable as more businesses reopens, and if it continues to remain stable, restrictions might ease. Now, for instance, right now we're seeing a limit of 5 people in dine-in businesses, perhaps, but this might eventually grow to 10 people, a 10 pax limit. Now, we also know that more businesses are reopening in phase 2, but with the exemptions of large entertainment venues such as bars or even exhibitions and trade shows. But as we move towards phase 3, and the government right now is in talks with all these business owners to see how they can implement safety measures, these are some restrictions that we can expect to ease. So let's hear what the task force has to say about this.
I have to explain that phase 2 actually is a process. Yeah, it's not the end stage, and as we progress in phase 2, we will continuously monitor the situation, and eventually when we reach phase 3, basically phase 3 is a steady state. By that time, we are probably going to hold that position in phase 3 for quite a long time, until when a vaccine is available.
And a big thanks to Deborah Wong there, who was at the virtual press conference by Singapore's multi-task force on COVID-19 earlier today.